every wrestler to turn on Rey Mysterio. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. Eddie Guerrero. The partnership between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero came just at the right time in WWE. Both men were in their prime and both men were insanely over with the audience. WWE decided that it was in everyone's best interest that instead of keeping them as a collective duo, they should be split and embark on a blood feud. At first, their matches had an element of sportsmanship, as it was very much presented as two friends just wrestling to see who is the better man on that particular day. However, when Mysterio won every major match in their program, Guerrero became increasingly frustrated and eventually snapped and turned on his tag team partner. This was a bold move from WWE creative at the time, as Guerrero was arguably the single most popular wrestler in the entire company, and to turn him heel could have had a detrimental effect to the product. Thankfully, Guerrero made it work, just like he did with everything throughout his legendary career. WWE decided to take the feud between the two in such an unexpected manner, as the feud went in a dark direction, which saw Guerrero reveal that he was the actual biological father of Dominic Mysterio. The two would then settle their feud in a custody of Dominic Mysterio in a ladder match. Yeah, there were crazy times during that period.
I thought it might become too soap opera-ish for my personal taste. But the great thing about it was the payoff. The payoff was that ladder match. My God in heaven. Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio in a ladder match.
How do you beat that?
Where are you going to see that again?
Right.
And what's the reason for this match? Well, it had a great reason. It had a wonderful stipulation everybody could understand, and it let two of the greatest workers in the world, in Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, go out there and do their thing. My sense is they let Eddie and Rey write the music.
The feud between Guerrero and Mysterio became one of the most memorable and celebrated rivalries of the Ruthless Aggression era, and it's easy to see why fans still talk about moments and matches from the feud almost 2 decades after the feud came to a close. Chava Guerrero. WrestleMania 22 was the crowning moment of Rey Mysterio's career, as he would finally become world champion. Mysterio's reign wasn't exactly great, as Vince McMahon clearly resented the fact that Mysterio was world champion. Mysterio often lost clean on TV, and there was a major credibility issue with his reign. Mysterio's world title reign came to an end at the Great American Bash pay-per-view in 2006, as Mysterio would drop the title to King Booker after Chava Guerrero bashed Mysterio over the head with a steel chair. Mysterio and Guerrero were presented as on-screen friends, yet it was apparent from the fans' perspective that Guerrero was plotting his heel turn. As for why Guerrero turned on Mysterio, Guerrero would claim in a promo that Mysterio had used the late great Eddie Guerrero's name to succeed, and Mysterio had tarnished Eddie's memory.
I mean, look, I've said it before, and Vince 100% believes this, just like Jerry Jarrett, the Jeff Jarrett's father.
Yeah.
Real issues create real money. And when this is nothing that I didn't do in 2007. It was the same thing. You want to be a Guerrero, you'll never be a Guerrero, you're jealous of us, that whole thing, and people just latched onto it.
The feud between the two was mostly decent, yet Guerrero wasn't at Mysterio's level. Once the feud was over, Guerrero would be moved dramatically down the card, as WWE evidently didn't think he had what it took to be an upper card talent. Vicki Guerrero. Things went from bad to worse in 2006 for Rey Mysterio, as after Chava Guerrero had turned on him, Vicki Guerrero also turned her back on him and hit him with a steel chair. This was the time period in which Vicki was becoming a permanent on-screen character, and this was a smart way to get fans to absolutely hate her, although she did that later on her own. Vicki did great in her role, as despite having limited TV experience, she was a natural at obtaining heat, and she had an incredible run in the company, managing names such as Edge and Dolph Ziggler, and of course, being the on-air authority figures for both Raw and SmackDown.
By God, when she first cut the heel promo on me backstage, and she would come up with shit that she could do as a heel, I went, she's a heel. Vicky's a natural heel. She was absolutely a natural. She's a Guerrero by marriage, and so by default, she lived the business, man.
Batista. In 2009, WWE decided it was time to turn Batista heel for the first time since 2005. To make this heel turn work, WWE were going to have Batista turn on his on-screen tag team partner Rey Mysterio. It's worth noting that Mysterio and Batista had unbelievable chemistry as a tag team, and it was truly heartbreaking to see Batista disintegrate the team. The heel turn took place following a world title match at the Bragging Rights pay-per-view. Batista cut a promo directly to Mysterio, and he stated that Mysterio was supposed to be his friend. Batista then absolutely annihilated Mysterio to the utter horror of the fans. Batista would claim that Mysterio cost him the world title in the Fatal 4-Way World title match, and in Batista's defense, Mysterio did, but it was a world title match where everybody was doing whatever it took to win. The two were then feud for the rest of 2009 following the Bragging Rights pay-per-view event, and the heel turn and the babyface work of Mysterio allowed Batista to be instantly accepted as a new top heel in the company. Dominic Mysterio. Throughout 2002, WWE were planting the seeds that Dominic Mysterio could potentially turn on his father. This was built over time, and when it finally happened at the Clash at the Castle event in Cardiff, Wales, it was an incredibly satisfying moment. Dominic began to deliver the finest work of his entire career as he was born to be a heel, and the feud between the father and son duo lasted several months, with WWE teasing an eventual showdown between the two. The match eventually went down at WrestleMania 39, and it delivered everything fans could have wanted out of the matchup.
He's about 190, so it was very hard for him at the beginning to try to adapt and find his role as a wrestler. The comparisons were made, and of course he couldn't live up to them. Not until we separated and he continued on his own path without having his dad by his side, and that was the best thing that could have ever happened to him.
Ultimately, the Dominic heel turn from 2022 resulted in one of the best character transformations in WWE history, and both Dominic and his father deserve all the credit in the world for making this feud work. Santos Escobar. WWE had a grand vision for Santos Escobar as a heel on SmackDown, and to achieve this heel turn, WWE booked Escobar to, surprise surprise, turn on his tag team partner Rey Mysterio. The two were part of the LWO faction, and Escobar would attack Mysterio and take him out of action. Whilst it looked like the two were going to face off in a singles match at WrestleMania 40, the match would end up being a tag match, as Mysterio would team with Andrade to take on Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. And finally, Carito. The final name to date to turn on WWE Hall of Famer was Carito. This took place in April of 2024, as it was revealed that Carito was the one behind the attack on Dragon Lee. Whilst Carito is better suited in a heel role, it has become an ongoing joke and now basically a meme that everyone turns on Rey Mysterio. This particular turn was incredibly predictable, and WWE need to book these styles of angles with more suspense. But there you have it, folks. Every wrestler to turn on Rey Mysterio. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.